NCERT exercise?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you have any doubt in exercise, please send it. Uh, please send the question number in chat box. Abdullah?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Harsha,
Yes, sir.
are you sending in the question number? Have you attempted the question?
Sir, actually, I had many tests and lab record submissions, sir. I'll send the
Okay.
answers to you before the next class.
Okay, no problem. No problem. So today we are going to uh, resume the chapter chemical reaction and equation, and up to decomposition reaction we covered, right?
Yes, sir.
So I am going to uh, revise some of the topics from this chapter. You can see types of chemical reaction. The first one is basically combination reaction. That means when two or more reactant combine to form a single product, that is called combination reaction. And I had given you some example of this, like formation of soda slacked lime, CaO, quick lime plus H2O, calcium hydroxide. Then I also taught you about the exothermic reaction or endothermic reaction. In exothermic reaction, heat is evolved during the reaction or during the process, and in endothermic reaction, heat is required to give in the equation, in the reaction or in the process. So both the process or reactions I have given you with the example, like burning of natural gas, or we also call it combustion. Combustion is an example of exothermic process, and whereas CaCO3, calcium carbonate, when we give heat to the system or the process, it will be converted into calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. This is an example of endothermic process. Now, do you have any doubt in balancing of reaction? Harsha and Abdullah and Hamna.
No, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. And we also covered decomposition reaction. That means a single reactant is uh, break down into simpler product. That means more than two product is called decomposition reaction. And I also gave some example of decomposition reaction, just like CaCO3. When we gave heat, it will be converted into CaO plus CO2, FeSO4, ferrous sulfate, lead nitrate, and AgCl. This is sunlight, also known as basically this when we give heat to AgCl, it will be converted into Ag plus Cl2, and we can easily balance it. So basically, this reaction, when we use uh, heat, it is also known as thermal decomposition. Thermal decomposition. Thermal stands for heat. Okay. Now we are going to learn the next type of chemical reaction, that is displacement reaction. So for from today's lecture, we will start with decomposition reaction. So right topic, sorry, displacement reaction. Displacement reaction. Now you can see what is displacement reaction. So in class 11th, you had a reactivity series which can displace which metal can displace which metal. That depends upon the reactivity. the metal which is more, or the element which is more reactive, will displace a less reactive element. That reaction is called displacement reaction. Okay, so I'm going to define an element, or generally we take it as a, or a metal, which is more reactive than other element in a compound, or you can call it salt. In a compound, it displaces the less reactive element, the less reactive element, and this reaction is known as basically displacement reaction. As we can see an example like Fe in solid and CuSO4. CuSO4 is a salt and is a solution in aqueous form. It is present, and when we dip iron in copper sulfate, so basically iron is more reactive than copper, then it will displaces copper in copper sulfate, and it will be formed like this. Another example is like Zn solid plus CuSO4 aqueous. What happens? Zn will displaces copper because zinc is more, it will be in aqueous, this will be in aqueous, and this will be in solid. Zinc will displace copper from its copper sulfate solution. Another example we can take Pb lead solid in solid. This shows the physical state. If you are going to keep lead in CuCl2 solution, aqueous solution, it will displaces copper and it will form PbCl2 plus Cu. And this is in solid, this is in aqueous, this is in solid. So basically, the examples I had given is these all elements like iron, zinc, and lead are more reactive than copper. That's why it displaces it displaces copper in their aqueous solution, and it forms like ferrous sulfate, ZnSO4, PbCl2. I will give you a notes for reactivity series, which is very important to learn, and I will give some mnemonic of that series of reactivity series. Please write it. Abdullah, if you have any doubt in this type of reaction,
No,
displacement
no, sir.
reaction.
No doubt.
Okay, thank you. Hamna,
Yes. Yes, sir.
please let me know if you have any doubt. If you
No,
have
sir.
any doubt in this reaction, type of reaction. Okay, thank you. So please write it and let me know if you are done with this.
Done, sir.
Very good, Harsha. Oh, wait. Done, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Abdullah and Hamna, yeah, Abdullah and Hamna, I'm waiting for your reply. Hamna, are you done with this?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, displacement reaction is done. There is another part of displacement reaction which is known as double displacement, which is known as double displacement reaction. Double displacement reaction. So basically, double displacement reaction. What is double displacement reaction? I'm going to give the definition and then give you example. And it will be more clear. So a reaction. Write with me. A reaction in which there is an exchange of ions between the reactants and products. Sorry, between the reactants are called double displacement reaction. Double displacement reaction. There will be exchange of ions between reactants. That means we have two reactants. Take an example, Na2SO4, that is sodium sulfate, and this is in aqueous solution. And we are going to take BaCl2, barium chloride. This is also in aqueous solution. That means liquid, we can say. What will happen? There will be exchange. You know that sodium is a metal or non-metal? Can anyone tell me?
Metal.
Metal. And barium is metal or non-metal?
Non-metal.
Metal. This is also metal. You can see basically barium is from second group. You have learned he, li, na, ke, rab, se, paria. This is mnemonic of this to learn the first group: hydrogen, lithium, sodium, potassium, rubidium, cesium, and francium. And the second group starts with beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, and then barium. Barium is basically second group, and in the first group of the periodic table, you can see hydrogen, lithium, and just beside that, beryllium, magnesium, calcium, strontium, barium. These all are metal, and we also know that metals are electropositive element. How we define metal? Can anyone define it? Metals are electropositive element, and non-metals are electronegative element. Metals are basically electropositive element. That means metals can easily lose the electron, and non-metals are electronegative element. It will gain electron. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
So what happens here is very easy to understand. This is positive part, this is negative part, this is positive part, this is negative part. So according to the definition, a reaction in which there is an exchange of ions, that means this positive will go with this negative, and this positive will go with this negative. Then what will form? BaSO4. With Ba, barium will combine with SO4 plus, here you can see Na will combine with Cl. So what will form? NaCl. And you can easily balance it by multiplying it by 2. Okay. So there is exchange of ions between reactants. That type of reaction is called double displacement reaction. And another important point is that you can see this is aqueous, this is aqueous. But when barium sulfate is formed, this is in basically solid state, and this is in aqueous solution. So another important term introduced here is precipitate. What is precipitate? So whenever a reaction is carried out in aqueous solution and product is formed, one of the product is formed in solid state, that is called precipitate. Are you getting my point? That is called precipitate. Basically, that are semi-solid type. That's it. That is called precipitate. So you can see here it is aqueous, here it is also aqueous, but when it combines, it gives one of the product is solid and one of the product is aqueous. So this solid is called precipitate, and this reaction can also be called precipitate reaction, precipitation reaction. So I'm going to explain this precipitate. The insoluble substance how we define precipitate? The insoluble substance formed is known as precipitate. The insoluble substance, basically these are uh, insoluble substance formed is known as precipitate. So this is aqueous combined, and it gives one of the product as insoluble in the aqueous solution, and one so that substance is called precipitate. And we can also define precipitation reaction. So I am going to introduce another term, that is precipitation reaction. And this reaction is whenever an insoluble substance is formed in a reaction, that reaction is called precipitation reaction. So I'm going to write a reaction that produces a precipitate can be called a precipitation reaction. Okay. So please write it and let me know. I will again explain it, and then we will move to the next part of this chapter. Wait a minute.
Sir, can any kind of reaction have precipitate?
Harsha, I couldn't hear you.
Sir, can any kind of reaction have precipitate or only double displacement reaction?
No, it's not necessary to have any kind of. There will be a specific type of reaction in your syllabus. Only double displacement reaction will prepare a precipitate, and that reaction will also be called precipitation reaction. Okay, there will be some other kind of reaction that will have a insoluble product, that will also be called precipitation reaction. But in class 10th, you will be studying this part only.
Okay, sir.
Everyone done with this?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah, Amna. Okay. So see, what is double displacement reaction? Any reaction where there is exchange of ions between reactant. Exchange of ions. Ions means positive or negative charge, cation or anion. And as we know that like charges repel each other, that means cation, positive charge will repel each other, and negative positive charge will attract each other. So basically, this positive charge will combine with this negative charge, and sodium and chlorine combine to form NaCl, and it will be in aqueous solution. But when it comes to this positive charge and this negative charge, it will be BaSO4, barium sulfate in solid state. That means these are this product is basically insoluble. That is called precipitate, and this reaction will also be called precipitation reaction. Can I move to the next part?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, moving to the next part of the chapter, that is oxidation and reduction. So basically, up to double displacement reaction, uh, they were basically classification of type of reaction. Here is a new topic, that is oxidation and reduction. Can anyone define oxidation or reduction?
Oxidation is the gaining of oxygen
Can
or the
anyone
losing of
define
hydrogen.
oxidation? Again, Harsha.
Oxidation is the gaining of oxygen and losing of hydrogen, and reduction is the gaining of hydrogen and losing of oxygen.
Okay, very good. So basically, oxidation is defined in two terms in class 10. The first method to define oxidation is basically addition of oxygen. Addition of oxygen is called oxidation, and another definition, that is loss of, or we can call gain of, wait a minute, we can say gain or addition of oxygen is called oxidation, or loss of hydrogen is also called oxidation. Whenever there is a reaction in which one of the component of the reactant gains oxygen, will be called oxidation, or lose of hydrogen, that will also be called oxidation. And what about reduction? Reduction is gain or addition of hydrogen. Addition of hydrogen. And another definition we can call it loss of oxygen is called reduction. So basically these are inverse. If we are going to define oxidation in terms of oxygen, it will be gain of oxygen is called oxidation. And if we are going to define reduction in terms of oxygen, loss of oxygen is called reduction. And if we are going to define oxidation in terms of hydrogen, loss of hydrogen is called oxidation. And if we are going to define reduction in terms of hydrogen, that means gain of hydrogen is called reduction. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Harsha, Abdullah?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah and Hamna. Okay, now see oxidation. When we talk about oxidation, there is another important definition, that will be see, is it necessary to have hydrogen or oxygen, presence of hydrogen or oxygen in every reaction? Is it necessary? Is it compulsory to have the presence of oxygen or hydrogen in every reaction?
No, sir.
Abdullah, what I am trying to say, are you getting it? Please answer me, Hamna and Abdullah. Hamna, Abdullah. So is it, it's not necessary. You can see in our environment, in our surrounding, this is not compulsory. This is not compulsory condition that every reaction has oxygen or hydrogen. It may be hydrogen, presence of hydrogen or oxygen, or it's not necessary to have the presence of oxygen or hydrogen. So in that case, how we will define oxidation or reduction? So in class 11th, you will learn that loss of electron is called oxidation and gain of electron is called reduction. This part you will study in class 11. Okay. Okay. Harsha,
Yes, sir.
Abdullah, please reply.
Yes, sir.
Please write it, and I'm going to explain with the example, and it will be more clear to you.
Okay, sir.
Please write it and let me know.
Done, sir.
Very good, Harsha. And I'm going to make a short notes of every chapters that I will teach you here, and that short notes will cover every topics, every formula, and you will get it in printed form. Okay,
Okay, sir.
and let me know uh, which chap which chapter I will give you for test. This is important. Maybe last Sunday the test was not hadn't held. Have you given test on Sunday?
No, sir.
Okay. Abdullah, are you done with this?
Yes, sir. I have finished.
Okay, very good. Now I'm going to give you an example. See, there is copper oxide, cupric oxide, CuO plus H2. When we heat it, it will be converted into copper plus H2O. Now see, initially copper has oxygen, and finally in product copper doesn't have oxygen. That means copper oxide loses oxygen. That means it is reduction? Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah and Hamna, please reply me. Abdullah, you are not audible. Okay,
Okay, sir. I will reply.
okay. Now see, hydrogen doesn't have oxygen, but in product form, in reactant you can see hydrogen doesn't have oxygen, but in product you can see H2 has O. That means there is gain of oxygen. That means this is oxidation. Is that clear?
Yes, sir.
Is that clear, everyone? Now see, another example I'm going to give you. ZNO plus C will give Zn plus CO. Again, you can easily recognize it. Initially, Zn has O with it, but there is no oxygen with zinc. That means it loses oxygen. That means loss of oxygen is called reduction. And you can see carbon doesn't have any oxygen with it. But in product form, you can see carbon has oxygen. That means it gains oxygen. That means it has oxidation. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Please write it.
Done, sir.
Then everyone saw Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to give you one question to do. Which of the following, basically, which one is getting oxidized? That means oxidation, and which one is reduced? So there is a question that is MnO2 plus 4HCl will give MnCl2 plus 2H2O plus Cl2. Please do this.
Done, sir.
Any answer, Harsha?
Yes, sir. Done.
Okay. Let me know which. You can see MnO2 and here MnCl2. That means MnO2 has loses oxygen. That means this is reduction part. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now you can see this. Initially, chlorine has hydrogen, and finally, chlorine doesn't have hydrogen. That means it loses hydrogen. And whenever loss of hydrogen is called,
Oxidation.
Harsha? Oxidation. Is that clear, everyone?
Yes, sir.
Now, one important question is going to arise. That is basically Cu plus O2 will give C. 2C. Let me know which one is oxidation and which one has a reduction. So basically, this type of, listen to me very carefully. This type of reaction we are going to solve this whether it has oxidation or reduction. Both will take place. Whenever there is oxidation, there will be reduction, because whenever there will be loss of oxygen, someone will gain oxygen. If reaction is going on and whenever someone losing oxygen, then it means that that oxygen will be gained by someone else. Are you getting my point, Abdullah?
Yes, sir.
Abdullah? Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Now see how we are going to cover it. In class 11th, you will study oxidation state. Harsha and Abdullah, please listen to me very carefully. Oxidation state. Always remember that molecular form and elemental form has oxidation state equals to 0. Is it molecule or atom? Elemental form. Is it molecular form or elemental form? Do you know what is
Molecular
molecule
form.
and what is atom? Molecular form. In molecule, you know that whenever same element combine more than one, whenever same element combine two or more than two, same element combine molecule form. Now, molecule form, that is molecular formula. You can see O2, N2, H2, P4, S8 it's all are molecular form, or it's all are molecules. So basically this is molecule, that means it has oxidation state 0. And you can see if elemental name directly given like sodium or generally in elemental form it will be metal, so it also has oxidation state 0. Yes or no? Yes or no,
Sir, can you explain again?
Harsha? So see, Harsha, I'm going to explain it again. What I wrote here is there is a rule to find oxidation state. One of the rule I'm going to introduce here. You will study this in class 11. One of the rule I'm going to introduce here is if anyone is in molecular formula or elemental formula, that molecular formula or elemental formula has oxidation state equals to 0. Elemental formula, that means directly element is given like sodium, potassium, copper, zinc. There is only element, not you know that what is element, right?
Yes, sir.
Harsha? Abdullah? Abdullah, if you have any problem doubt, ask me.
No, no, sir. No.
Okay, now see. So elemental form and molecular form, oxidation oxidation state 0. Now there is a question. Can you tell me the valency of oxygen? Anyone? Valency of oxygen?
Oxygen, two.
2. 2 oxygen has a valency 2. Okay, Harsha, do you know it or not?
Yes, sir.
Now see, oxygen has a valency 2. Will it gain or lose? If you are going
Combined,
to
it will lose.
no. You can
Gain.
see it has oxidation, atomic number 2. In first shell, in K shell or first shell, it will there will be 2 electron and then 6 electron distributed in the outermost shell. This you have done in class 11. Electronic configuration 28818.
Yes, sir.
Remembered, Harsha? Abdullah?
Yes, sir.
Now see, oxygen will lose or gain? To achieve its
Gain.
octet, to complete 8 electron in its outermost shell, will it lose or gain?
Gain.
Gain. And whenever electron will gain, it will have negative sign. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
You have studied this in class 11, 9th. Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Abdullah, if you have any doubt, please ask me. Okay. Your response is like you are just accepting it. If you have any doubt, I will explain it again. Okay.
No, sir,
Now
no
see,
doubt.
this oxygen. Okay, very good. This oxygen has -2 oxidation state. So this copper will have +2 oxidation state because we always write like CuO. Is there any charge on this compound? Is there any charge?
No, sir.
Yes or no? No, sir. That means these are neutral. This is neutral compound. If oxygen has -2, that means copper will have +2, so that it will be balanced. Yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Now see, copper is going from 0 to +2. Copper is going from 0 to +2. You can see whenever electron will be lost, there will be positive charge. If one electron will be lost, that means +1. If 2 electron will be lost, that means +2. If 3 electron will be lost, that means +3. Are you getting my point, Abdullah? Harsha?
Yes, sir.
And you can see oxygen 0, from 0 it is going to -2, that means it is gaining electron.
Yes, sir.
Harsha? So I also defined oxidation and reduction in terms of electron. So there is loss of electron, that means this is oxidation, that means copper is oxidized, and there is gain of electron 0 to -2, that means this has a reduction. Please write it and I will explain again. Please write it.
Done, sir.
Abdullah, are you done?
Yes, sir.
Now see, if I'm going to give you this question again, you know that Cu plus O2 will give CuO. You can easily tell that copper initially doesn't have any oxygen and now it has one oxygen. That means this has oxidation part, but how will you calculate a reduction part? So it's obvious one of the this is oxidation, then this is reduction. And generally, whenever there is no hydrogen or oxygen, then how we are going to calculate whether it is oxidation or reduction? So, in terms of electron, uh, we will explain whether it is oxidation or reduction. It is very important. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Now I am going to give you a question. So basically, here is a 4Na that is in solid, and here it is basically this electron part will you will study in class 11. Most probably there will be no question in your uh, in this class. Okay. So after this class, we will have class on Monday directly, right? Yes.
Sir, Sunday, right?
Sunday will have, I think, biology class.
Okay, sir. I think Monday only.
Or on previous Sunday, you had biology classes, right?
Sir, I'm not sure.
Okay. Are you done with this? So almost this chapter is also complete, but I won't be finished. I won't start any other chapter before taking test and giving assignment on this two chapter of physics and chemistry until or unless you are sure about this chapter. So in coming week, most probably I'm going to take your test and give you more and more assignments. So you have to work a little harder this week. You have to complete all the assignment as well as test. You have to score a good marks in test.
Sir, physics or chemistry?
Both,
Okay, sir.
because we just completed the physics part and I had given you homework, but both of you couldn't complete it. But you should complete it in this week, and in the end of this week we will have test. And on Monday and Wednesday, we will discuss both the chapter physics and chemistry, and I will give you a question in class,
Okay, sir.
and you will have to. Okay, are you done with this, Abdullah? Has any answer?
Sir, oxygen is
You can
reduced
see
and
very good.
sodium is
You
oxidized.
can see in the left hand side, sodium doesn't have any oxygen, but on right hand side, that means this is oxidation. So the remaining part is reduction. Okay, everyone.
Yes, sir.
Abdullah.
Yes, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to give you homework of this chapter from exercise. We have already done some questions from exercise. So this is question number 1, 2, and then question number 3, and then question number 4. We have done about questions on the balancing, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, question number 5, you have to do it again. Okay, and 7, because it has given chemical name, and you have to convert it into chemical formula and then balance it. Okay, that's why I'm giving you question number 7, 8 again. 5, 7, 8. This is part of balancing. but it has given chemical name. You have to write the chemical formula and then balance it. Also, question number 9. Also, question number
Sir, in
10.
the previous homework, 5,
Also,
7, 8 were given.
5, 7, 8. I already gave you, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So please just see it. And then question number 13.
Sir, 9 and 10 also.
9 and 10 also I had given.